Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Mama Bear.
And I get onto the porch, and Mr. Clean came up to me, and he was like, "Hey, there's a lot of talking going on. Like, your reputation is not very good around here right now. You need to think of ways to fix that." And not 30 seconds after he tells me that, the captain comes out, points at me, and goes, "Let's go to my office." So I go into the office, and they shut the door. And then it's the same two people that was in there when I went under investigation in November over him. And they're looking at me. They're like, "Hey,
Hold
we
on,
have some
before you said
questions."
that, what were they saying on the first investigation? They pull you in
So,
there?
yeah, a fellow officer told them that he had suspicions about me talking to this dude inappropriately. So I'm going up to get head count one day in booking, and I get told by my supervisor up there, "Hey, you need to go to the major's office. She needs to talk to you about something." And I'm doing so well at this point that I think it's because I'm getting a promotion. And so I go in there, and she's like, "There was an allegation lodged against you. We need to investigate it. Can you go ahead and tell me right now if there's anything going on?" And at that point, there was nothing going on. And so I told him straight up, like, "No, there's nothing going on. Like, you can talk to him and ask him, and he'll tell you." And they were like, "Well, we've seen some text messages, so we're gonna investigate." And they investigate me for about a week, and they call me in the office one day, and they're like, "We couldn't find any evidence against you. We found text messages where he was talking about an officer, but he told me that he was talking to an officer from the facility before. So we contacted that facility and let them know what was going on. You can go and resume your normal duties now."
They had his messages to you, but they didn't know
To
it was you.
Yeah.
They couldn't see your number on there.
It was I back up, sorry. At this point, I hadn't texted him. He was texting his mom, and he was texting the baby mama, like, "Hey, I think I found somebody." And he told his mom that he couldn't tell her what my name was or anything until he either left the facility or he got out of jail.
They call you in the office. What happens next?
They call me in. They bring up a paper stack this big, and I see that it's printed out chirp text messages. And I'm sitting here like, try not to show on my face, like, crap. And then they circled the 3 text messages that he sent to my actual phone. And then that's when they're like, "We got a disturbing phone call today," and we started looking into stuff, and we found your number on his messages. "How did he get your number?" And I'm sitting there looking at him like, "Man, I don't know how he got my number. I didn't give it to him. Like, I'm not being inappropriate with him or anything." And so they're looking at these text messages, and they see a different number, and that's all the burner number. And they're like, "Well, is this you? Because it correlates with all your days off. It correlates with you being at work and everything. We need to know if this is you." And I'm just sitting there like, "No." And they're like, "Well, there's a lot of sexual text messages in here." And I'm just sitting here like, trying not to show that I know I'm caught at this point. Then they pull up the picture of me and him walking into the pod, and they're like, "Can you explain why y'all are walking so close to each other? It literally looks like you're holding hands." Immediately, my smart aleck self, I'm like, "Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 hands. You can see we're not holding hands. He's just talking to me about some of the things that are going in the pod." And when in reality, that's when he's trying to ask me to bring in the second box of pins.
And they ask you
Yeah. And
if
then they looked at me and they're like,
you're pregnant. They ask you if you're pregnant.
they did. They straight up asked me, "Are you pregnant?" I looked at them without missing a beat and said, "I will pee on a stick right now, right here in front of you. I am not pregnant." And they just kind of looked at me and they're like, "Well, we're not asking you to do that." And I'm like, "Well, I'm offering to do it so I can prove to you that I'm not pregnant." And I had taken a pregnancy test in medical about 2 weeks before that. And the nurse was on shift that was with me that day. I was like, "You can go ask this nurse. I've already taken a pregnancy test a couple weeks ago and it was negative." And so they're just looking at me. And that's when they start going, "Well, do you have anything to say for yourself?" And at this point, I know I'm caught. I know I can't talk my way out of this. I start crying. Like, I'm crying so hard. There's snot bubbles coming out of my mouth and my nose, and I can't breathe. And I'm literally freaking out. And they're just like, well, what do you have to say for yourself? And I was just like, man, I was manipulated. And they knew what I was going through with my dad. And I'm like, this is what I'm going through. I'm not strong mentally. And he got to me, and they just kept asking, do you have anything to say for yourself? And then I looked at him. I was like, I resign. And the
Was there
captain
any,
looks at me.
was there any sexual contact?
No. There was a time in the cleaning closet that he tried to get me to. He came in there and was trying to take my belt off, trying to unbutton my shirt, and I was fighting him off. So I told him, if we have sex, I'm not doing it until after you get out. And the dynamic has changed in our relationship. And I was in the cleaning closet so long that night that a new coworker came over the radio and was like, my last name, hey, is everything okay up there? You've been up there for a while. And so I have the cleaning cart right here. I dumped the cleaning cart over in the pod and said, yeah, I'm okay. First shift didn't put these cleaning carts back like they're supposed to, and one fell over, and I'm just trying to clean up some of the water.
What do you tell the people that are in the office?
I just tell them, I'm like, they just keep asking me, do you have anything to say for yourself? And I look at them dead in their eyes, and I'm like, I resign. And the captain looks at me and goes, oh no, you're terminated. Turn in your belt, turn in your uniforms. And I'm just like, I tell them I'm sorry for anything that I did inappropriately, and I'm sorry for putting the facility at risk and my other workers. I just take my belt off and I just drop it in the floor. I don't even hand it to them. I just drop it in the floor and I walk out and go to my car.
At this point, are you thinking I'm in the clear? I just got fired. That's it. No big deal.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because I knew that we hadn't had any sexual contact. So I was just like, man, okay. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, the pens, these ink pens. And that's when I start worrying, like, do they have it on camera? Me dropping this into the cell? Well, I didn't know this, but the day that they got the phone call, they pulled everybody from that pod out and drug tested everybody. And that's when they popped positive for the Suboxone. And the facility did not give Suboxone out to any of the inmates. If you were on Suboxone, when you came in that facility, you'd go to a detox and you detox from the Suboxone. They wouldn't give it to you.
So they know.
They know.
What do you tell your fiance?
Man. So I call him when I get to my car, and I'm like, hey, you want to go back into plumbing? This is your chance. I just got fired. I'll be home in 15 minutes. And he's like, well, what happened? What's going on? And at the time, that was when I started having health problems. Like, I had my sugar go up really high that one night. The week of Christmas, I'm out for a week after with the flu. Right after that, I come back with pneumonia. So I'm sick constantly, and my kids are sick constantly because they're in a child care facility. So I'm missing work. So I tell him it's because they had concerns that we're all sick all the time, and it affected my attendance. And I
So you
literally
lie.
hung up.
So you lie. You lie.
I did. I literally hung up the phone, told him, texted them, said I'll be there in 15 minutes. Just start looking for jobs.
Okay, you're fired from your job. What are you thinking? Are you thinking about going to get another job? And do you call
Um,
him? Like, you guys are exposed at this point.
we're exposed at this point. He tries to text me from someone else's chirp in the pod because they disabled his chirp. And they disabled like his phone calls and stuff so that he couldn't call anybody, he couldn't text anybody. So he's using the guy that gave him the tattoos chirp to try to get a hold of me. And it's, hey, are you all right? I heard what happened. And he's just trying to get me to text him back to let me know I'm okay, and I don't. I'm texting his mom and I'm telling her, hey, this is what's going on. Like, he's texting me, I'm not responding to these messages. I'm scared that it's going to lead to more trouble. And so she was like, well, I haven't heard from him. I don't know if he's in the hole because they disabled his chirp and everything. And so I spent that whole weekend freaking out, thinking, oh, he's in the hole, thinking, people in the pod are mad because they knew about the second box of pens that was supposed to be in that I never brought in. And I'm just sitting there like, okay. And I'm like, I'm fearing that he's gotten the crap knocked out of him. I'm fearing that he's in the hole and everything. And then that Tuesday after I got fired is when his mom called me. Hey, he's getting moved to a different facility. I'll let you know when he's booked in and I'll tell him to call you. Because all weekend I'm blowing up her phone, sending hundreds of messages. Have you heard from him? Have you heard from him? Like texting her every couple hours. And she'd be like, calm down. I'll let you know when I hear from him, but I haven't heard anything. And I'm just like, okay, okay. And then she calls me 2 hours later after she tells me he's being moved and says, hey, he's been booked in. This is the phone number that he's going to call you on. So answer it. And not even 30 seconds after I hang up the phone with her, he's calling me. And I'm freaking out. I go into a different part of my house. I go upstairs and I shut the bedroom door because when you're upstairs, you can't hear anything from downstairs. And so
Yeah.
I'm literally holding my phone like, oh my God, are you okay? What happened? And all that. And he just told me, he was like, man, they came and got me today, shipped me to this different facility. I'm going to be here for a while, but hey, it's love here. The working part is great. The food is a lot better. The tablets that we have, we can play games on. We can watch movies. You can video chat me anytime that you want, like FaceTime. Because in the facility he was in before, you would have to schedule appointments
They
to
don't
do
give him a
video visits.
ticket. They don't put him in SAG. They don't give him a ticket. Nothing.
No, because unbeknownst to us at this point, they're building the case against us.
Now, is your goal to still be with him at
At
this
this
point?
point, yes. We're sitting there, okay, you're in this different facility now. I can video visit you anytime I want to talk to you. We can text. I can upload pictures on the app to your tablet. So I'm sending him pictures of me. I'm sending him pictures of the kids. And I'm taking pictures from his baby mama's Facebook and sending them of their child without her knowing.
How do you find out that you're in trouble?
Early one morning, I was up with the boys. It was like 5:30 in the morning. My fiance was upstairs asleep. He hadn't gotten up and gotten ready for work yet. And I always scroll on the town newspaper website because I'm nosy and I do that. A lot of people do it. And so I see indictments. And so I'm like, okay, let me see if any of my frequent flyers from the facility is on here because I knew that there were some people there that was waiting for an indictment. And I go and look at it. I go halfway down the page. There's his name, my name, another inmate's name, and the inmate's girlfriend's name. All there. The inmate got promoting contraband charge. The girlfriend got the promoting contraband charge. Hunter was facing promoting contraband and a PFO charge. And so I'm sitting here and I see my charges: promoting contraband 1, promoting contraband 2, and third degree